Identity. The fact of being who or what a person or thing is. So, what happens when a part of your identity is no longer something that you're allowed to be? For me, that thing right now is a traveler. And I find myself often mourning the loss of travel right now and wondering when I'm going to be able to get back on the road. I'm sure I'm not the only one either. And if you are in the same boat as me, welcome. You are not alone. Hey, everyone, and welcome back to Kayla on the Road, the podcast. I'm Kayla, your host, and if you haven't been here before, welcome. If you have been here before, welcome back. I'm so glad to have you here again. Things are looking a little bit different today, and I know I say that really often, but today they actually are looking different because in addition to my recorded podcast that you may be listening to right now on something like Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I am also doing a video podcast. So hello to all of my friends on IGTV and YouTube. So today I wanted to explore the idea of identity and what happens to your identity when you cannot express it in the way that you normally would. So for me, that identity is one of a traveler. And I'm going to talk about some things that you can do at home to kind of soften the blow of not being able to travel right now, but also how to support someone if you are not the person who is mourning the loss of travel, but if you live with someone or love someone who is in the same boat. So if you're new here, one of the things that I really like to do is I really like to share a drink with you. I always like to start my show with a bevy, and I am quite partial to craft beer. So I've picked myself up a craft beer to share with you all today. So if you're at home and you have the opportunity, feel free to grab yourself a drink as well, because hey, why not? Maybe it's the morning and all you can grab is coffee. Do that. If you're at work, please don't drink and blame it on me. But if you're hanging out, it's the evening and you want to have a drink with me, I encourage you to do so. So today, my drink of choice is from Sawdust City Brewing Company, and they are in Gavenhurst, Ontario. I've never been to Gavenhurst. I actually don't know if I'd be able to place it on a map. I'm guessing it's Southern Ontario, so probably close to Toronto and stuff. But I'll look it up on a map and double check for you guys. So this one is their Maple Butter Tart Ale. I'm super excited to try this. I am a butter tart fan myself and an ale fan, so we'll see. It actually won an award. It's the winning beer of Collaboration Nation North, submitted by the town of Midland, and that was at the Session Muskoka Taps Craft Beer Festival. So that's what we're drinking today. Let me know what you're drinking. I'd love to know what you're drinking, or if you have any suggestions that you think that I should try, let me know. It is a little harder to get some stuff here in New Brunswick, but you never know. I might be able to find it or get it shipped here, which is really cool too. All right. So cheers, everyone. I love that sound. Oh, it smells really sweet. Actually, it smells like, it does smell like maple. It does say maple, yes. Oh, that's good. I had a similar beer to this last year. There was like a 12 milk stouts of Christmas last year that I had, and they had one that was very similar. And this has the same type of flavor profile, but it's a lot lighter. It is like an ale where it's I wish that I had a glass that I could pour it in right now so you could kind of see the clarity of it, but not that you can see it if you're just listening to me. So yeah. Sweet. So let's get started. So I kind of mentioned in the intro what an identity is, and there's a lot of different ways that you can show your identity or represent your identity. The way you dress, the way you act, the way you, the things that you buy, the things that you celebrate, the things that you do, those are all parts and ways to express your identity. And like I said, the thing that I'm missing most right now, and the part of my identity that I'm missing most, is the travel aspect. So although I consider myself a traveler, I am not traveling at the moment because of COVID. Thank you, COVID. And it's getting really hard, especially as the fall weather starts to sink in here in New Brunswick. We actually had a really nice weekend this weekend, so that was kind of weird. But we went from -2 one day to 25 the next, and the weather doesn't know what it's doing. I'm confused. What am I supposed to wear? I've already put my shorts in a box in my closet. So it's a little frustrating. And as it starts to get colder, I'm actually reminded that we are getting into winter, and winter is my least favorite season. Not only because I am not a huge fan of snow, I'm not a huge like snow sports person. I know that there are people out there who love skiing and snowboarding and skating and things like that, and winter is great for those people. But I am not one of those people. I do not participate in any of those sports, and so winter for me is really just a couple long months where I just pray that summer comes early. That's literally it. There's Christmas thrown in there. That's great. I love Christmas. But otherwise, not a winter fan. So usually, Andrew and I do a lot of our traveling in the winter. And actually, as I sit here recording, I just remembered that we are actually supposed to be in Germany this week for our honeymoon, which is really not fun. It's kind of sad. So, what do you do if you are someone who identifies as a traveler and you can't travel right now? I do podcasts. I record podcasts and I send them out to you. And I think of all the great times that I did have while traveling, all the memories that I've made, all the friends that I've made, and things like that. But for those people who do not have that kind of outlet, what do you do? I'd recommend doing some journaling, write about it, talk to your friends about it. A common problem for me is that I talk about my travels a lot, and I have a lot of friends who probably get annoyed with it. So I would recommend finding that one friend that you can talk to about all of your travel stories. Tell them what you miss about it, tell them what made it so great. So, as someone who identifies as a traveler, like I said, winter makes me sad. Not being able to travel makes me sad. And I do suffer from those days where I don't want to get out of bed. It's true. I lay in bed and that's where I spend my day. So, what do you do on those days where you can't get out of bed? Well, I find that I have to give myself something to look forward to. So, that usually means taking some time to plan my next dream trip. Even if it's a trip that I'm not going to take for a really long time, it's always really exciting to learn about new places and new things and explore the world, even just through the lens of the internet. There are so many travel sites recently that popped up and different cities and countries who have put out videos of 360 tours of different landmarks and monuments and things like that. And I think those are all really great things to take in right now. And it's a really great way to support the countries, show interest in those countries, so that they know that there are people out there who do want to return there once the pandemic is over. If you are the friend or a loved one of someone who is suffering from something like this, the can't get out of bed, I'm too sad, I just want to be on the road traveling right now type of deal, here is my advice for you. And this isn't just my advice. This is actually something that I asked Andrew about before I came down to record. I said, Andrew, you're the one that has to deal with me on these days where I am sad and missing travel. What would you recommend that other people do for their loved ones? So he said, and I totally agree with him, try to figure out what it is exactly about travel that you love so much or that your loved one loves so much. Is it eating new food? Is it going new places? Is it seeing new things? Is it being out in nature? Is it being in the city? These are all things that you can actually do in your city. I know it's not as exciting. It's no pad thai from the streets of Bangkok from a cart, but it's close and it's the closest you're going to get for a while. So why not try a new restaurant? Why not visit the Vietnamese place down the street and get that bowl of pho? Why not go to the Chinese restaurant and order something that you've never ordered before? Pick blindly, something like that, something that you would do while you're away. I think that really helps to it really helps to quell the side of you that is looking for the adventure in the uncertainty and the part of the unknown that comes with travel. That's one of the big things that helps me. Another big thing is getting out of the house. I never do myself any good when I sit in bed all day. I never feel happy at the end of the day if I stay in bed all day. So Andrew's really good at trying to get me out of bed and into nature. And so he knows that I really like walking. I like being around people. So oftentimes when I'm having those days, he'll plan opportunities for us to go downtown, go to a cafe maybe that we've never tried, or take a walk down a side street that we've never seen, look at the houses. There are so many different pockets of places in cities that don't get explored on a regular basis because they seem like normal places to visit. But in reality, chances are there are places in your own city that are different than where you live or where you grew up. Take a moment to look at all of the great diversity around you. What does your city have to offer? What makes it so great? Why would people want to visit you? Those are the things that really help me hold on in times like this. I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but if you do, a couple of days ago, I posted a picture of me hanging out at one of the outdoor patios, um, drinking some local coffee with a cronut. I love cronuts, and there's like only one place in the city that really does them. So that is one of the things that really makes me happy. They only have them on Fridays and Saturdays, and if I'm having a really bad Friday or Saturday, that's always one of Andrew's first suggestions is let's go out and let's treat ourselves to cronuts. It seems so simple, and yet it can totally turn your day around. So figure out what those things are for you and keep them on the back burner. Don't just do them whenever you feel like it. Keep them for those days where you really need to pick me up. I think that that's going to help you a lot more than willy nilly here or there. Another thing that I really like to do is I like to plan my travel. Part of the excitement of traveling for me is planning it, is looking forward to something, is counting down to something. And so if I can have the opportunity to sit down and actually research where I want to stay, what I want to do, what cities I want to go to, what activities I want to participate in, that really gets me excited and lifts my spirits way higher than watching TV all day mindlessly could. I right now am in the process of booking a trip home. And although that means a lot of quarantining for us, since my home, well, it's not really home. My parents moved recently to Manitoba. We used to live in Northwestern Ontario. And now that they're in Manitoba, I actually have to quarantine when I go to see them. So we're planning a trip to go see them. And it sucks that I have to do 2 weeks when I get there and then 2 weeks when we come back to New Brunswick. But such is life right now. But it's super exciting to think about those 2 weeks while we're in quarantine. Yeah, we can't do anything, but what are all of the amazing things that we can eat? What are all of the things that we can look forward to doing when we finally are out of quarantine? The biggest struggle right now is trying to find an Airbnb that we can stay at while we're in Winnipeg so that we don't drive each other mad because of our constant in each other's faces. But we are also used to that. If you've listened to the podcast before, we live together, we work together, and even before the global shutdown, we worked in the same office from our home. Which makes traveling a lot easier for us as well. If you have been waiting to take a little bit of a trip and you found yourself surviving quarantine with your partner, that might be a really great sign that you folks are ready to get out on the road and try traveling together. I know that's one of the biggest hesitations for people. But yeah, I feel like I'm rambling here. It's not really a cohesive podcast. This is really more of my love letter to anyone who is feeling the same way as me. I just want you to know that you are not alone in how you're feeling right now. It is completely normal and you're allowed to feel sad. It is like losing a part of you. In the same way that I'm sure athletes are mourning the loss of their sports right now. Not professional ones, because most of them are back out on the field, but anyone who plays recreational volleyball or recreational basketball, and that's a part of their identity. That's something that you also can't do right now, and that's really sad. So I think it's just something to keep in mind. It is a normal thing. And if anyone ever tries to make you feel bad about being sad about not being able to travel, I would ask them what they're missing out on because of this pandemic. Chances are there's something that they're also missing and they're also mourning, and your reason for being sad is not silly. And if you explain that to them, I'm sure that they are way more likely to understand where you're coming from. That's pretty much it, folks. I want to just repeat the biggest takeaways from today. Figure out what it is about traveling that you love so much. What is the reason for being on the road? What keeps you wanting to travel more and more? What makes you excited to travel? Is it the food? Is it the planning? And do those things. Make yourself happy. Take some time out of your day. And I really think that in those moments of sadness, we need to remember that this isn't the end of travel. We will be able to travel again, even if there are restrictions on it. We just have to adapt, and we're going to come out the other side. So if you are feeling really sad about not being able to travel, or if one of your loved ones is feeling really sad because they're not able to travel, and you feel like you can't talk to anyone about it, you can talk to me. Hit me up on any of my socials, Facebook, Instagram, and I will be there and I will talk with you and we will chat about your favorite place to visit and we will share stories and we will share disappointments, because I think that that's so important. No one understands a traveler like another traveler. And I've said this to my travel friends as well. I love them so much and I love you so much because we have that in common and we are bonded because of that. So, yeah, that's it for today, folks. Thanks so much for joining me. If you haven't already, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. If you feel like it and you want to leave a rating on Apple Podcasts, I would also love a review. And yeah, come and hang out on Facebook and Instagram. See what I'm doing behind the scenes. See what I'm doing to get over my travel sadness, or see what I'm doing on a normal basis. I mean, yesterday I fixed a toilet and that was my adult win for the day. So thanks guys for joining me, and I cannot wait to see you on the road soon. Bye.